All right, Shalom, all praise to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakaha Kwadash. Double honor to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the hopefully elect. Excuse me. So I just want to do a real quick hit, under 5 minutes, Lord's will. All right. I want to do something, I just want to say, and this is inspired by something that, the beloved Elder Apostle Tahar had said in his lesson that he just put up, if you're not prophesying, you're not a prophet. He said, essentially, and I'm, roughly paraphrasing, what the Elder Apostle had said, that, your loved ones, right, parents, whatever the case, siblings, they might not make it. All right. Now, there is, households being delivered, of course, by a prophet, right? His household can be saved, right? They can be part of the 1/3, his wife, his children, right? But there's no guarantee that, well, first of all, that we're even going to make it, because many are called and few are chosen, but especially with, like family members, parents, siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, even, extended family like that, right? You got to remember, they are the Most High's property. They don't belong to us. You might have, blood brothers and blood sisters that are not in the truth, or you tried to tell them about the truth. And you were like, hey, can't you see, whoop-de-whoop, this is what the Bible's saying, we're Israelites, the Lord is coming back, there's going to be a time of Jacob's trouble, there's going to be World War III, there's going to be nuclear destruction, don't take the microchip, it's the mark of the beast. You try and tell them that, and they're like, all right, crazy motherfucker, and they turn the other cheek, or they pull away the shoulder, and look, they belong to the Most High, so if the Most High has it in their story that they don't make it, we have to accept that, and that's a tough thing, and I'm speaking to myself, first and foremost, this is 2 Ezra 5:33. It says, and I said, speak on, my Lord. Then said he unto me, thou art sore troubled in mind for Israel's sake. Lovest thou that people better than he that made them? Okay. So do you love Jake, more than the Heavenly Father loves Jake? I'm talking about our family members who are Jakes, right? Of course, if you have, a heathen mother or whatever, we're not talking about her and her side of the family right now, because, that's not even, salvation is not even in the cards for them, but, your Israelite family members, you think you love them more than the Most High loves them? You don't, okay? You don't, no matter how much you love them, all right? Verse 34, it says, and I said, no, Lord, but of very grief have I spoken, for my reins pain me every hour, while I labor to comprehend the way of the Most High, and to seek out part of his judgment. Okay, and he said unto me, thou canst not. It's too high above you what the Heavenly Father is doing and what his plan is, why some people have to go into the lake of fire. That's, it's shit. He has his reasons, we have to accept that, and we hope and pray that we make it and our families make it, but ultimately everybody belongs to the Heavenly Father, and, he can do what he wants with his creation, This is Jeremiah 3:14. Turn, O backsliding children, saith the Lord, Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, for I am married unto you, and I will take you, one of a city and two of a family, and I will bring you to Zion, right? So one of a city and two of a family, that's not all of Israel right there. That's not all of your family. It's a scary thing, You might be the only Jones, the only Smith, the only Jenkins, whatever, that's going to get delivered, okay? That's a tough thing to accept, But, we have to accept the will of the Heavenly Father, right? And Yahweh Shai said, what? Who is my mother? Who are my brethren, right? Let's get that. Let's do this real quick, and then... because ultimately the Heavenly Father is only dealing with the elect. Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai is only dealing with his elect, and our family members, more than likely the majority of them are of the 2/3, and we just, that's a tough thing to accept, right? But it's part of, it's part of the truth, Matthew 12:48, but he answered and said unto him that told him, who is my mother and who are my brethren? And he stretched forth his hand toward his disciples and said, Behold, my mother and my brethren. For whosoever shall do the will of my Father which is in heaven, the same is my brother and sister and mother. All right, so with that, all praise to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakaha Kodash. Double honor to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the hopefully elect. Shalom.